Them's little duckies got all sorts of space to run now. Little poop monsters. It's time for part 2 of this show. Gonna start with cutting these little wings off so it's a nice smooth angle for the roof. Take a little file and just deburr it. Not too much because you don't want to sharpen that, but just something to knock down the little burrs and scale buildup. From you, some of this side, it get a little sloppy and all. So Mongo gonna go around and just put some screws in there and tighten this up just a bit. Found these little teeny tiny black screws in the pile. They got a nice flat head on them there, a little more surface area than these original ones that Mongo was putting in for that sheeting. They working out super great for that little vinyl sheet. They just grab a whole lot better than that one. So Mongo's swapping those out for these short black screws. Now on the one end, Mongo wants to put a wheel. Found a couple wheels from an old lawnmower, a little push mower. Gonna mount these here. It's got to lift it up on a 2x4. And thinking somewhere about the middle, find a couple bolts. Bolts, washers, nuts. Fits the wheel perfectly. And enough sticking out that it'll stick through the 2x4. And find a drill bit. Be sure when you size up your drill bit, you want it just a little bigger than the bolt. Just gonna kind of guess where good for a wheel. And then we'll throw our bolt in our wheel. And we don't want it super tight, just enough so it'll roll nice. Gonna take a little bit of general grease. Just get a little bit on your fingy, and we'll grease up this bolt where the wheel's gonna ride on it. Now we can put the nut on the other side, and that wheel should be ready to go. Wheel's sitting on the ground, and there's just a little bit of clearance under there. On the pile, Mongo find a couple old U-bolts. Think these the originals off the big Suburban. Those will make good handles, though. You know, I need a slightly bigger, thicker drill bit. Yeah, these U-bolts should be perfect for handles. Maybe right there, look good. As a wise man once said, they're hard, and they meet the length requirements. Of course, a bit this size needs a pilot hole. Oh, she's a little wide. That's alright, we'll make her work. Oh no, I made it too big. Bending these is super easy. You just put a big pipe on one end and then the other end clamped to like a metal table or something. Don't you worry, Mongo will get her in there. Going through 2 2x4s, so it's plenty strong. These don't actually have to thread in all the way or get tightened up. They're more for show, so they don't come off. So Mongo just putting them on a little bit and calling it good. Well, this front panel here, the short one, it's gonna be the door. And Mongo decide, really there are 3 sections in here, because there's a 2x4 there, one at the end, and another one in the middle. So there's kind of section 1, 2, and then 3. Now, you got multiple options. It's up to you what you want to do. You could have this whole panel, like, hinged down, and then the whole thing's open, and they can get in and out. But where Mongo lives, it'll get pretty cold in the winter. So Mongo decide gonna insulate 2 of these cavities, this one and this one, and just gonna have a door at one end. But you can do it however you want. Couldn't find any small hinges, and so pick up just a couple of these little guys. Mongo hasn't got the wood yet. Obviously, there's not a big seam there. Mongo's gonna install the hinge first. Instead of using the teeny tiny screws, at least for the part that's going into the 2x4, you're gonna use some bigger ones. Trick being, you just gotta make sure she lined up good and square and straight, and gonna cut the seam afterwards. The hinge is arranged in a way so when the door is all the way open, it will sit flush against this side, and you can latch it so it's not just flopping in the wind. So Mongo should have drawn a line to make sure everything was nice and square. So measured out from one end at the top, measured out from one end at the bottom, 31 1/4. Gonna stretch this between the 2. And just snap her. And that should be the edge of the 2x4. So now when we line our hinge up, we will be sure to be nice and plump. And then hinges have a little bit of play, so there's just a bit of forgiveness. Of course, the other end of the door need a latch of some kind. So Mongo get one of these, that way you can throw a lock or just a little carabiner in there and keep the, rakings and coyotes and junk out of there. So we're gonna put this side in first. And again, Mongo gonna use the bigger screws, at least on the 2x4, just about middle of the panel. And then for reference, we put this on, draw a little mark where that top piece is gonna line up. So that way, when we put this here, we can kind of line up that mark and put our screws in. Little Mongo tip there for you. If you take some adjustables and just put a slight bend to that, now it operates the same way. However, that little bit of bend in this mechanism allows this angle to come across much easier. Much better. Whereas before it was straight and it would rub on the top just a little bit. All you need is that little bit of bend. And if you look straight down, it's just got that little bend. And as this comes across, there's no rub there. And then when it hits here, it'll push that slider that way. Now Mongo's just gotta follow the line and give her a cut. Fun fact, if you didn't know, this is in the hospital called a bone saw. Because you can't cut your skin like that, but it'll cut bone all day. Now it's super useful for construction and carpentry. This on the inside, we gotta cut this out because this is where the door is gonna be. And if we peel back, there should be a couple spots where those hinges are still connected. So we just gotta cut those couple spots. Now the ducks have a door. The old power grab. Time to do the roof here, and got a couple 8-foot boards. And we'll make a hinge mechanism on the top here, so that way it'll open up. Find a couple hinges in the pile. Gonna take a little bit of modification to make them work. Start off by cutting a couple cross members, 35 inch long. Get the L brackets in there and all 4 cross members. So now time for some hinges. Kind of line them up just along that board, right at the corner. And gonna have to cut the ends off. Mongo put a middle hinge in it just because, found another one. It seemed to open and close real good. Little bit of pounding in the back so you can kick that little dovetail up, just like a duck tail. And then bend the sides around a little bit. Gotta have the ducktail in the back, so that way when you open it, this piece will go flat, and you got a good gap in there. Open pretty nice, though. Cut a couple of these 1x1s that he found. In the pile, of course. Couple more of those hinges. Just lining them up flush with the bottom. Oh, those supports in. Easy going down. And easy going up. Nice and secure. They won't kick out on you. Front metal on, she pretty much almost there. Got a little carried away with the wheel. Oh well. Now we just gotta glue in some insulation. Well, got the ceiling all insulated. Mongo run out of the blue stuff, so I had to switch over some different foam there, but it all insulated and ready to go there. One of the little Mongo tips, when you're using the old sheet metal, sometimes there's old holes in it. So just take a little dab of silicone and just cover them holes. Just a little dab will do. Some of the bigger ones might need a bit more, but that way you don't get any water going in there. Other thing to note, just for reference, when you make a duck coop, they need vents in the roof or walls or something. Those little supports down, that leaves a good vent in the front right here for airflow. On the inside you can see that's a real good vent for airflow to come in and out, and those little supports rest right there. Also pretty good gap on the side up there with the moisture that they attract and hang out, and they get the bedding soaking wet. They gotta have airflow in a vent for all that moisture, otherwise you get bad mold and health problems. Mongo don't want no health problems for duckies. So hopefully this video will help you if you wanted to make a duck coop for your house. And no, it's not the prettiest, but it wasn't the point to make the prettiest. The point was to use up a whole bunch of raw materials Mongo had laying around. Be sure to stay tuned to part 3 of the ducks. Mongo gotta make a run for them. You know, the duckies gotta be able to get out of the coop and run around and eat some grass and play in ponds and puddles and pools. Well, if you like this video, be sure to like this video. If you like this video and other videos from Mongo Fix, be sure to subscribe. Mongo is working on all sorts of stuff. Mongo, thank you.